It's my great pleasure today to speak with Diane Knoll, author of Mysticism in Wales, A Pilgrimage, which is the story of her journey to Patagonia in, I believe it was 2016, when she spent a tremendous amount of time on a cruise, observing, studying, and being present with whales. I want to talk to Diane because she is one of the people that we spoke of in depth in our book, Andrew Harvey's, and my new book, Saving Animals from Ourselves. Welcome, Diane. It's really good to be able to talk with you today.
Thank you so much. I am looking forward to this too, and it's always absolutely incredibly wonderful to meet and be able to converse with kindred spirits. So thank you for your work.
Well, you're very welcome. I noticed you're wearing almost the same color as the cover of your book, which is very...
Oh, actually, that wasn't planned. But...
That's okay. That's okay. You know, I wanted to ask you, because we read your book, of course, and I guess the first question is, what influence has studying and being present with whales in Patagonia had on you?
The influence has been incredibly strong. And I do need to say that I went at the invitation of a Native American medicine woman. I had been ill for some time, and I began my search by looking for spirit. And so I started meditating with a group and a wonderful teacher, and the animals came to me in my meditation, which then led me to my acupuncturist saying, I got somebody you've got to meet. And it was this Native American woman. And as you know, Indigenous people have relationships with animals as if they are their relatives.
Yes.
And so she asked me if I would come with her to Patagonia. And this was actually in 2000. So I have been going to the whales for 20 years and kept a journal, which is what I ended up working with when I wrote. But my first experience with meeting the whales was walking on in a nature preserve on a beach in the shore that stretched forever, no structures, no anything. And my shaman had said, you'll feel a mother's love when you meet the whales. And I thought, well, that's interesting, but we'll see. And I walked on this beach, and a whale came up to me, and the profound depth of love that came out of that whale into my being, I had tears just streaming down. And it was a very stunning experience to me. So out of that, and that deep connection, grounded love, unconditional love, became a sense of you feel trust if you've got that kind of love. So my first experience was healing work. And that's what we did first, that we had to heal ourselves, the things that were keeping us blocked. So I learned initially that sense of love and deep connection with this whale being. We also worked with dolphins and sea lions and all of nature. And we were able to enter into some real darkness, because between the shaman's ritual and the other woman who is a dear friend and is a psychodramatist, we did therapy that involved changing places with the whales. And so we found things that we didn't even know were there, that were keeping us from being who we could be, or even that there was a who we could be that could be discovered. That was somewhat of a surprise too. And it came from messages that we got from the whales. And they, as from my experience, when you get a sacred message, it is often very short, just 2 or 3 words, sometimes a little longer, and very to the point. And so we heard these messages and we're able to look at ourselves. So from becoming clearer, we found an inner strength and an inner divinity that we could stand up differently and really hear the cries of the world. And so I would say that's it. The cries of the world we ended up hearing.
So I have a question for you, Diane. You said the whale came up to me. Can you describe, you're on the beach, but how does the whale come up to you from that far away?
This is a very, in this particular, and then I'll tell you about how we do it when we're on the boat, but this is such a huge shoreline, and the whale just swims up. So at that point, I couldn't touch the whale, but it was 10 or 20 feet from me. I mean, it was close, and it swam absolutely to me, and it felt deliberate to my heart.
Yeah.
On the boat, it's different. In the early days, we could be with small groups, but the whales, you can go to where the whales are, but the whales have to come to you, and they would go under the boat. But one of the most profound is when they will come up right up in front of you and then blow, and you just get covered with that mist. It is like an initiation or a baptism, really very profound. However, whales smell, so it has a strong smell.
Well, the second question I have for you is, you studied them and been present with them for a long time. What messages do you feel the whales want to communicate to our species?
Well, I would say, and of course I can only speak from my experience and the other people that I have traveled with, but the first thing is to work on healing yourself, clearing what's keeping you blocked, and then moving into action. So I actually, if I can, I would like to tell a story, and it isn't from South America. I live in Seattle, and we have the orcas here. And last year we had an orca named Tahlequah, who had a baby that lived for 30 minutes and then died. And she carried, I'm sure you know this, and many do, she carried this baby for 17 days.
Right.
And the world, it went all over the world. I saw it on my BBC app, and we got to see the profound grief and love. And you couldn't watch that and say, oh, this is just an animal. Right. You were recognizing a really deep connection that is relationship. And there it was. And to me, people were watching, and they were grieving with her. I mean, it pierced people's hearts.
Yeah.
But I felt, and this is from the shamanic work and the work that I do, that she was saying, do you see our babies are dying? Will you pay attention?
Yeah.
Will you stop hiding? Will you look? And will you see what's happening? So I felt that was a profound call from her, that we had to pay attention. We couldn't hide anymore. And I would say that is also the message, that it wasn't the initial message that we got from the whales in Patagonia, because those whales were not in distress. They had been, but so much work had been done. But it was the ultimate message that we got. And it is a profound call to action, because it comes from so deep. It's not a head connection. It's a true being connection.
Thank you so much for that. I've really been wanting to talk to you for a long time, and I'm so pleased that you've been part of our book. And I want to tell folks again the title of your book, Mysticism and the Whales, a Pilgrimage, that Diane Knoll writes about, that she took, I think, beginning in 2000. And in that book, she really shares how the animals, in a sense, have saved her. And we write in Saving Animals from Ourselves, how we can do that and how we can heal the divine animal within all of us. Thank you so much, Diane.
Thank you, Carolyn. It was really a pleasure.